What if Chris Rock had slapped Will Smith back? So that night at the Oscars, Chris Rock made a joke about Will Smith's wife. And Will Smith freaked out and he jumped up on stage and he assaulted him in front of the entire world.
Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
But what if that night had gone differently? So let's say Chris Rock is having a terrible day. He's fighting with his girlfriend, he's fighting with his agent, he doesn't really want to present at the Oscars, but he does anyway. And when Will Smith climbs on stage and smacks him, he's finally had enough. And as this much bigger man towers over him, he just loses it. And he rears back and he takes a huge swing and pow, he slaps Will Smith right across the face. And the audience at the Oscars is just stunned because now they realize this isn't a comedy bit. These two grown-ass men are now in an actual fist fight on live TV. And Will Smith is just standing there and he's shocked too. He didn't expect this much smaller guy to hit him back, so he doesn't know what to do. And in that moment, he looks down in the audience back at his wife Jada. And Jada is just sitting there, scowling at him, looking all disappointed. And poor Will, all he ever wants to do is impress her so that she will like him and so that she will stop, smashing with other men. And anyway, pretty quickly, bam, security jumps in and they break Chris and Will up. And minutes later, Will is sitting backstage and he feels just humiliated. And he's all bummed out and he's waiting for Jada to come back there so that they can leave. But unfortunately, Jada has already left. She went to one of her boyfriend's house to smash. The next day, Will is back home in his mansion, and he's sitting on his bed, and he's all depressed, and Jada still hasn't come home from the night before, and that is when his son Jaden walks in. And Jaden immediately notices his dad is looking all upset, and so he's like,
"Hey Dad, you want to hear some of my poetry?"
And Will's like, "God, please no." And Jaden is like,
"When the waterfall poops on the sunshine and the Kung Fu koala bear."
And Will's like, "I don't care about your stupid poem. Get out of my house, you weird kid." And right in that moment, they hear a car pull up, and it's Jada. She's finally home, and she comes inside, and Will's there waiting for her, and he's holding like flowers and chocolates for her. And right when she walks in, he starts begging her, "Please, please don't be disappointed in me, baby." Haha. And Jada looks back at him and she's like,
"You got punked by little Chris Rock. Tupac would have never got punked."
And Will's like, "Please, baby, I'll do anything for you. I'll slap anyone." Haha. And Jada's like,
"Okay, prove it."
And then she instructs Will to slap the butler. And Will's thinking, "All right, this'll win her back." Haha. And so, pow, he slaps the butler. And Jada's like,
"Okay, slap the personal chef."
And so Will goes and pow, he slaps their personal chef. And then she's like,
"Slap the cleaning lady."
And then pow, he slaps the cleaning lady. And from there, she just keeps making him prove it to her. And so pow, he slaps the groundskeeper. Pow, he slaps the pool boy. Pow, he slaps the tennis instructor. Pow, he slaps Jaden. And she's like,
"I didn't tell you to slap Jaden."
And Will's like, "Well, he was about to read his poems again." And Jada's like,
"All right, fair enough."
And so for the rest of the day, Jada's got Will slapping members of their staff one by one. And he's just doing it, hoping that she'll forgive him for just existing. But then the doorbell rings and Will goes to answer it, and standing there is a police officer. And he's very nice and he's like, "Mr. Smith, we got a report from your cleaning lady that you had slapped her?" And Will's like, "Nah, I didn't do it. Haha. I don't even cuss in my raps to sell records." And as the police officer is standing there deciding on whether or not to believe Will is just staring at the side of the officer's face, just wide open for slapping. And in his head, Will is thinking, "Yeah, this will do it. This is my moment. This will impress Jada and it'll make her like me again." And that is when he rears back his hand and suddenly, pow, he slaps the officer right across the face. And the officer falls to the ground, stunned. And to be fair, in that moment, Jada actually is impressed. But that's also the moment that Will realizes what he just did. He just hit a cop. And so the cop is like, "Hey, you're under arrest." And Will's like, "Oh, damn." And he runs out of the mansion. And the officer's right behind him, chasing him. And Will hops into the first car he sees, which is his limousine. And he starts it and he takes off. And the officer hops in his patrol car and he calls for backup, and bam, the high-speed chase is on. And soon enough, Will's limousine is flying down the highway, and there are a ton of police cars chasing him. And the chase goes on for a while, and police have to throw down one of those spike strips, and the limo runs over it, and kapow, the tires blow out. And the limousine is just too long and cumbersome, and Will loses control, and then kaboom, the limo crashes. And Will, he gets out, and he's not hurt, but police have him surrounded. And they send in the canine unit dog to restrain him, but pow, Will slaps the dog. And then he yells at police, "Don't you try anything! I can really fight! Didn't you see me in Bad Boys 4? Haha. And police are like, "Whatever, Fresh Prince," and bam, they arrest him. So then Will goes to jail, and he's sitting there, and he's devastated, and he's lonely, and he's waiting for Jada to come visit him, but unfortunately, she doesn't. She's too busy off having entanglements with a bunch of the cops who arrested him. In fact, the only person to come visit him is Jaden. But unfortunately, Jaden forces him to listen to his poems. Womp womp. Haha.